if you were to try to become as productive as this automation that I have right here, you would need teams and teams of people. And not only is that very expensive, but then you've got to trust that your teams and teams of people are always on their A game. What's going on? My name is Jaden Clark. I'm the founder and head developer of the New World Agency. And today I'm going to show you exactly how we send 50,000 personalized cold emails a month without ever touching the computer. Now, everything from enriching the lead to researching them, sending it out, and then even responding in human-like times is done completely autonomously. So the only thing we have to worry about is joining the meeting and closing the lead from there. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty massive automation. So I'm going to break this up into 13 different parts. And by the end of the video, you should understand exactly how this works and goes full circle. All right, so just to give you guys some context on what's going on here, we had an investor come into the business with a pretty massive database of leads, and it came with some valuable information. So we've got the organization name, URL, number of employees, when they were founded, their industry, headquarter location, website, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, contact email, and their phone number. Now, this is great information to start off with, but the one issue we had with this list was a lot of the emails that we would send out, they wouldn't actually hit the targeted email address. So in order to fix this, we built an email enrichment automation that is incredibly simple. All it does is it pulls all of those leads from this sheet right here. It sends it into Million Verify's API to verify the emails. Some of them are bad, some of them are risky, and some of them are good. Now, the ones that are good, we're going to filter out, lose all of the ones that were bad and risky, and then we're going to send all of the good ones to our finished database right here. And then the email automation is ready to start. All right, so once those leads are fully enriched, it gets sent to this automation right here. And what this does is every 15 seconds, this is going to trigger and it's going to pull one of those leads from that database. And then it's going to send it into this deep research agent here. Now, this deep research agent has access to the entire internet, so it can make real-time searches and it can find all publicly available information to help you accomplish your mission. Now, your mission is going to be completely different than mine is. My mission is selling B2B automations. So for me, I'm looking for the top automation they could use, why they could use it, and any sort of AI automation opportunity. So first, we'll start with this deep research agent and hop in here. All right, I'm going to be incredibly brief with this section right here. Now, this thing is phenomenal at deep research, but since all it's doing is sending the data to this cold email agent, we aren't optimizing it for the way a human would want to hear it. So to save us all the pain of me reading for 10 minutes out loud, I'm going to summarize the most important parts of this and we're going to move on. So for the top automation that this recommends for St. John the Cross, it recommends a 24/7 intake resource coordination bot that does voice and SMS triage and real-time bed and volunteer scheduling. That way they never have to leave anybody on the phone to do it for them. Now, the reason why it recommends this is because they currently publish a single phone number and email for their intakes, donations, and volunteer coordination. Staff likely spends a ton of time handling calls and messages every day. Now, for their pain points, obviously, missed calls and slow response times outside of office hours, high admin burden on small staff/volunteer teams, and inconsistent scheduling and donor follow-ups. And then in their dream scenario, for a situation like this, the dream scenario is a system that answers every call or text immediately, triages urgent cases, auto-books intake appointments and volunteer shifts, and reduces no-shows with reminders and notifies staff only when human intervention is required. This results in faster placements, better donor follow-up, and dramatically less time spent on admin. Now, for the personalized note, I talked about this a little bit earlier. This is just to make the beginning of the email hyper personalized so that the business owner wants to sit down and keep reading. It needs to resonate with them. So the only thing that's really important about this part is where it talks about the sponsor mom drive right here. And we'll get into that in just a second. Now, for the best sales approach, send one short, empathetic cold email based on mission impact, name the core problem, missed calls, and admin overload. Now, what do? They provide temporary shelter, food, and supportive services to single women, married couples, and families in Cedar Rapids. And they run community donation drives and operate daily intakes for people in crisis. Provable pain points, obviously, we're just talking about the phone number and the email again. All right, so now that we have all of this information and understand what kind of automations they could use and why, we're going to send all of that deep research up to this cold email generator, and he's going to use it to craft a mission-focused email that people actually want to read. Now, we'll get into this in just a second here, but right now I want to talk about this master table. So we update everything into this master table. All of the leads information, all of their research, the email that we sent them, any follow-up emails we send them, and any emails that they reply with. And that way, every automation in the system can read this master table and understand everything that's happened prior to their conversation. That way it works as one intelligent system and not 13 different broken apart automations. Now just keep this in the back of your head for now. We'll get into more detail later on. But for now, let's hop into this cold email generator. So for this example, the subject was never miss a crisis call again. And obviously that is incredibly relevant to this business. They're a nonprofit that only handle people in crisis, so it couldn't be more relevant to this business. For the body, it says, I noticed your sponsor mom campaign will research and your community work. Managing everything through one phone line must make it challenging to respond to every call immediately. We can build an automation that answers calls and texts 24/7, schedules intakes and coordinates volunteers and beds based on real-time availability. This means everyone in crisis gets immediate help, even outside of office hours, while your team spends 70% less time on admin tasks. Are you the right person to discuss this with, or is there someone else that I should reach out to? And then for the PS line, it says, PS, this would also ensure consistent donor follow-up, strengthening your community support network. Now, it takes all of this information right here. The email is basically ready to send. So we take it and we send it to this workflow right here. Okay, so this is probably one of the most important parts of this automation right here. And the reason why is because if any of you have ever done mass cold email outreach, you know that each and every one of these email addresses can only safely send about 100 emails per day before they start getting sent to spam. So I've got 16 different email addresses, all made with custom names on these, right? And it's going to determine which one it should be sent to based on this rotating counter that we've got. So each time this AI agent's going to take that email, it's going to read through that send counter, and it's going to determine which one to send it to. So this time, the last sender was 6. So we know the next one's going to 7, and it's going to go to Jessica at the New World Agency instead of Jack again. Now it's going to go through 16 and then repeat. Once it starts at 1 again, that's 1 full rotation. And then once we hit 100 full rotations, we error out so that we never have to worry about passing that limit and getting sent to spam and having to re-warm up these addresses each and every time. Now, the last cool part about this is not only the risk mitigation, that part's awesome, but we have custom signatures for each and every one of these. So you may have noticed that all we wrote in this generator was the subject, body, PS line. Now, the reason why is because obviously each and every one of these has a new name. So this signature has to be Jaden, this one has to be Chris, this one has to be Dustin. So we've got it hard-coded in here for each one of these. So it'll put the body up top, their little signature, the PS line, and then all of the can spam information. So we've got our PO box right here, and then if this isn't relevant, you can unsubscribe here. So this makes us fully compliant and able to do this at a massive scale. Like I said, I'm doing 50,000 a month right now. You could easily do this 250,000 emails a month, no problem. All you do is copy and paste more of these. Like once the system's built, you're good to go. I personally have no need for that, but with systems like that, when you mitigate your risk like this and have it error out and actually do it scientifically, you can scale this to the moon. There is no limit here. So that's the next part of this. And then obviously, if we even get a 2% reply rate on 50,000 emails a month, that's almost 1,000 people that we've got to respond to every single month. That's a lot. So to deal with that, we have a mass email classifier. And this thing will take any of these emails that it gets from any one of those 16 email addresses. It will read through it, classify it, and then send it to the correct location. So let me get an example going for this. All right, so before I dive into how this works and show you each one of these examples here, I'm going to show you the different categories that can actually be classified into. And the first one is positive interest. So these are emails showing a clear interest and readiness to take the next step without asking any additional questions. Pretty rare, but it happens. Negative responses are emails showing disinterest, rejection, or asking to be taken off our list. Pretty self-explanatory. That'll just put them into spam. Information seeking. These are asking more details and specific examples about the automation that we pitched to them. Referral requests, emails indicating they're not the right person, but then giving us the correct person to speak to. Now, as you guys saw in these emails, every one of these call to actions are you the right person to discuss this with, or is there somebody else that I should reach out to? Now, in another one of our automations, we're going to be targeting the business owners directly using the PitchBook database. So we don't need to do this. We know it's the right person. But for this automation, since it's just a massive, broad database, we're doing this so that we can work our way through the company. And then anytime they recommend us to the right person, we've got an automation that takes us to the right place, and then we kind of work our way through it. So on top of that, we got privacy concerns. Obviously, a lot of people ask, like, how'd you get my information, stuff like that. Simple automation to handle that. Out of office, whenever somebody's on vacation or something like that, they've got a simple automation that's like, I'm out until September 16th or something like that. So we just kind of let those die off. Those don't mean too much to me right now. We've got unclear responses. This is like if the AI just completely doesn't understand what they're trying to say or like what the message and mission of their reply was, it'll send it into a different category so I can go and I can read through it later. I can figure it out myself. The next one is not business related. So these are, email receipts and spam and stupid stuff that doesn't matter, doesn't apply to the mission. And lastly, we have confirming their identity. So are you the right person to discuss this with? If they're like, yeah, I am the right person to talk to, and they don't say anything else, then we send them to another one that kind of warms them into it. So those are the examples of this. Now I will show you how this works for each and every one of these. So for this, we'll say, yes, let's book a meeting ASAP. We'll send that out. So now what it's doing is it triggered because it got the message in my Gmail. Now it's going to pull the entire message from here. It's going to classify it, and then it's going to send it to the correct sub workflow. So as you can see here, this one went to the positive sub workflow, which it should. Now this is all finished up. So obviously, send all of that same data over here. It updates the master sheet so that we understand what their message was. Now, something I didn't show you guys before was all of the information we're really keeping in here. Hold on, master table. So obviously I showed you all the research beforehand. And then when we send these emails out, it's going to automatically update it as a cold lead. That way, when we do drip cycles later on, we know who's cold, who's hot, who's warm. That way, we can target the right people and we're not, messaging people that have already bought an automation from us. That'd be stupid and defeat the entire purpose of it. Then we've got spam. That's pretty obvious why. Times touch for our drip cycle automation. The first email that we sent them, the first follow-up, current email to respond to, previous email, and email account we're actually sending through. And we'll get through all this in just a second. But the first email and the first follow-up and everything like that, this is so that all of these sub workflows right here understand exactly what was going on prior to this conversation. Because obviously this automation's first time actually talking to this person. But it can go through the database and it can understand, what did we pitch to them? How did our first email go? Did they respond to that first email before this? Or is this their first response? What other questions did they have? Anything like that. And it can really fine tune it so it does the work of a real person. So it takes all of that information from that master sheet that I just showed you, and then it crafts a response. So subject is AI automation consultant link. Awesome to hear you're interested. You'll love how this can streamline your operations and help those in crisis. Here's a link to book a free consultation with our specialist, Jaden, who will go into detail with you. Then it sends my Calendly link and it says, if you have any trouble booking, just let me know. And obviously, we try to keep this incredibly short and simple. They're so close to booking with us that we just want it to shut up, hand them the link, and move on. So this is incredibly short, simple, to the point, and then it updates the master sheet on everything that happened, moves the previous email, moves the current email to respond to the previous email. So that way, when the new agent comes on, if they respond again, this is blank and they can understand what happened previously and what's going on now. And then they've got context to the entire conversation. So that's one example. Now we'll dive into another one. All right, so now we're going to try to trigger the negative response workflow. And we're just going to say, this is stupid. Don't message me again. Now, all this is really going to do is it's going to update the spam and then update the lead warmth to ice cold. That way, when we go through in our drip cycle later on, we don't have to worry about texting people that already told us not to contact them again. We don't have to worry about lawsuits or anything stupid like that. It's automatically handled for us. We can go into here. Lead warmth, ice cold, spam, yes. So that's negative. Now we'll try to do information seeking. So come back here, delete this, say I don't quite understand how this would work for me. Explain why I would need this. All right, I don't quite understand how this would work for me. Can you please explain why I would need this? All right, so as you can see, it's all finished up now. Just send everything to the informational seeking sub workflow that we've got over here. And it's all finished here too. So for each and every one of these, like I said before, it's going to pull all of that information. So it's got context on all of our research, what we talked about before, and it responds accordingly. So it's going to take that, and it says the original email was, I don't quite understand how this would work for me. Can you explain why I would need this? The response was for the subject 24/7 crisis response system. And the body says, this automation would work like having a full time receptionist who never sleeps. When someone calls your shelter line at 3 a.m. needing help, the system immediately answers, checks your available beds, and either schedules an intake appointment or adds them to a wait list. It sends you urgent alerts only for emergencies that need your immediate attention. For your volunteer coordination, the system automatically matches open shifts with available volunteers and sends confirmation texts. It also tracks donations and sends automatic thank you messages to donors. One of the best parts is how it maintains a real time count on your shelter capacity, so you always know exactly how many beds are available without checking it manually. These types of AI automations are much easier to show than explain on email. I highly encourage you to book a consultation with our automation specialist, Jaden. He'll show you live demos of automations that we use and explain how they could work in your business and answer any other questions that you may have. And then it sends our consultation link. So obviously this one is a little bit long worded, but I kind of want it to be with information seeking since this is such new technology. I want people to really understand what this can do for them. Now they might not need every single feature in there, but I'd bet a lot of money they need at least one or could use one. So that's that one. And I guess we'll move on to our next example now. One thing to keep in mind before I move on, actually, keep this in the back of your head. See how each one of these, it says email to send through and it gives you the email. That's going to change based on who sent the email and who's replying, so that once we get down to the point where we want to send these out, it goes back through that same email. And as you can see here, I never talked about this. It's updating it to a master draft sheet. It's not actually sending it out right away. We don't want them to reply immediately. That's a dead giveaway that it's an automation. So I'll get more into how we kind of cover that up later, but keep that in the back of your head for now. All right, so now we are hitting referral requests. So this is anytime it's not the correct person to talk to, but they give us the correct person to talk to so we don't waste a lead. So for this example, I said, not my department. You may want to reach out to Jay in technology. His email is smokecentralhemp@gmail.com. So it takes that, and this is already finished. It sends it over to referral. We go over here, and in referral, all it's going to do is it's simply going to extract this email, the new one that we gave them, or the phone number if we send one of those, and it's going to update our master table with it. As you can see here, new referral email, smokecentralhemp@gmail.com. And then we get the no phone number because we didn't provide one. But when we do, it'll show up here and then I can call them personally or build an automation that calls them. So what it's going to do from there is it's going to take that new email that we've got and it's got to enrich it. Like I said before, you want to enrich every single every single contact that you send an email to. Because once you start buying a lot of these email addresses to do mass email outreach, it gets not only very expensive, but time consuming. You've got to spend a couple weeks each time to warm one of these emails up. So we never want to sacrifice that or risk sacrificing that. So we enrich it one more time, make sure the quality's good. If the quality's good, then we send it to the next part of this automation here. And all this is going to do is it's going to take the original email that we already sent them and send it to the correct person that it was supposed to hit the first time. As you can see here, never miss a crisis call again. I noticed your sponsor mom campaign, blah, blah, blah. It's the same stuff it was before, but now it's sending it to the correct person. So updates to our master draft sheet, and then that'll be sent out later. So let's get into the next part. All right, so for this one, we're doing privacy concerns. So all I said was, who even are you? And how did you get my email? And I took a little bit of an unorthodox approach with this reply. As I told you guys before, I'm actually using the investors database. So this technically isn't true, but I have my own lead generation automations that I want to promote. So I figured this was the perfect time to do it. And I could implement them effortlessly. So I don't think it was too much of a stretch. So what I said is I'm using my own lead generation automation. And I said, we have our own lead gen automation that autonomously finds quality leads. It uses public data to identify and vet potential clients like you, exploring your community work and creating opportunities for us to connect. If you'd like me to put you on our do not contact list, just let me know. But if you're willing to hear us out for just 15 minutes, I can almost guarantee it'll change the way you view technology forever. We have some awesome ideas for you guys and offer free consultations on every project. So this one's not meant to be pushy at all. It's just meant to drive a little bit of curiosity and give them another example of what these automations could do. This technology is almost limitless. So the one downfall is like I can't promote everything at one time. So this gives me another opportunity to promote another automation that I probably didn't pitch to them. So we're actually going to skip unclear responses. Since the AI is so intelligent at this point, it's incredibly hard to give it something that it doesn't understand where it's supposed to go. So we've got all these categories now. So at that point, it's almost got to be gibberish for it not to understand. And at that point, I'm probably not going to understand. So this is a failsafe. I'm going to keep it here just in case, but this probably won't get used too often. So right now we're going to confirm our identity. So I don't expect this to happen too much, but if someone just confirms their identity and says nothing about the automation for some reason, just says, yes, this is the right person to speak with, it's going to send it to another automation that just gently kind of warms them up into this. So it starts with a benefit driven subject. It says immediate intake, less admin. And then it says, I'm glad we got a hold of you. I really think an automation like 24/7 call and text triage should make sure no one in crisis waits for help. Intake and donations through one phone and email can cause missed calls and heavy admin. This means you can get immediate responses, auto-schedule intake, and match beds and volunteers while your team spends less time. Just let me know if you're interested and I'll arrange a free consult with one of our AI specialists. It's still new tech, so seeing automations live helps. Now this encourages them to book a consultation since they're already they're being weird. Maybe they're just not typers. So hopefully then they'll respond and say, yeah, a consultation sounds good. And it'll go back to positive reply. It'll send my consultation link and then it's all good to go. It'll keep going full cycle. Like I said, I don't expect this to happen too much, but every now and then it will. All right, now on to the most important part of this entire email automation. This is what hides that a robot is actually doing all of this for us. So as I told you guys before, I didn't want to immediately reply because that's a dead giveaway that it's a robot. So instead what I did was I sent everything to a master draft sheet. And the reason for this was so that I could trigger this automation at random hours during the business day, 7:02, 9:21, 10:48, whatever it is, all throughout the business day. And it'll send these out in human-like response times. So that way, nobody ever detects that it's AI, right? And then on top of that, it's going to make sure that it sends it back through the correct email that it should go through. If you respond to Jaden at the New World Agency, you wouldn't expect your next reply to come through Dustin at the New World Agency. It's got to come through Jaden. So in order to do that, I had to bring over the actual email we were sending through. And that's what I was telling you guys to pay attention to earlier. That part is super crucial. So this makes it so that we can completely step away. We don't have to send the emails. We don't have to craft them. We don't have to do anything. It's all in a human-like time that they wouldn't get suspicious about. And it's all done completely autonomously at a massive scale. So I am very, very happy with this part of this, even though it's one of the most simple. It's probably my favorite section of this automation just because it hides everything we're doing. And I don't want to hide it because I'm ashamed that it's automated. Of course I'm not. I make a living off this. But I want them to get into the meeting and be like, well, how do I know this is going to work for me? This is new technology. And then I can go, well, John, you're living proof this worked for me. You know, everything from researching to crafting the email and all of the responses to explain how it works to you and booking the consultation, it was all done autonomously. So you're living proof that it works. And for me, it's like that wow factor that I was really chasing. And, you know, this was the missing piece that I needed to do that. So I'm very happy with this part. So with this email automation being so large, I needed some sort of error alarm that would go through and send any sort of error codes to this AI agent so it can figure out exactly what broke, where it broke, and how to fix it. And then send me a message immediately through Telegram so I get it both on my phone and on my computer and can fix it immediately, even if I'm not at my desk. So as a basic example of this, we'll just disconnect this chat model here. And this could be any sort of error you can think of, but we'll just use a basic one for this. We'll activate it, and then once this triggers, it should error out immediately once it hits to this section. Send the code to here, and then it should send a message to our Telegram and let us know what happened. All right, here we go. So, oh wait, let me turn this off real quick. We're gonna get a few more. All right, so it says cold email research plus generator, failed node, deep research 1. The error, the key reason, was because the chat model subnode must be connected and enabled. The chat model subnode is missing or disabled, so deep research 1 can't run. So obviously every single time one of these errors, it's going to send another one out. So that one ran twice, so we got 2 messages there, but it could be any one of these automations that break, and it's going to let me know exactly where it broke and how to fix it. So definitely a crucial part for the management. So for the last step of this automation, I have a quality control bot that goes through every day at 7 p.m., reads all of the emails that we sent, aggregates them to one string so it's easy for the AI agent to read. And then the AI agent gives us an in-depth analysis of all of the emails that we sent, so I don't have to go through and manually read each one to make sure that the quality is consistent. Now it's going to go through and send us an email. And in this email, it's just going to give us our overall grade, performance summary, key strengths, areas for improvements, and recommendations for specific nodes that should change, which is my favorite part of this. So for this one, it recommends we change the AI research agent to include more competitor comparisons in the research, find more specific pain points from company reviews and news, gather more industry benchmarks for metrics, and look for recent company milestones or changes. So each and every day, I can really look forward to getting this email because I know each and every time it's in my best interest to read it. I know I can add these small improvements and keep getting this grade up over time. So that's about it for this mass email automation. I hope that by the end of this video, at least one of you guys has realized that the technology is not just on its way, it's already here. And every business on earth is soon faced with the decision of either adapting with the technological changes or falling behind their competitors that do. And I think this is kind of a prime example of this because if you were to try to become as productive as this automation that I have right here, you would need teams and teams of people. And not only is that very expensive, but then you've got to trust that your teams and teams of people are always on their A game. You got to trust that this one's not in a fight with her boyfriend and that this one's not having a bad day and this one's not tired. But with AI automations, I don't have to worry about that. I know that each one of these automations that I have built right here not only know as much about my business as I do, but they know more about my business than I do. So they can go in and they can handle this all for me. I don't have to worry about it. All I do is join the meeting, do the human to human contact, and I close them from there. So if any of you guys need any of these automations, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. You can visit us online at thenewworldagency.com. Try out a few of our automations. We got a couple call bots you can try out on there, and you can book your free consultation. Like we said before, we do free consultations for every single project. So even if you're still just on the border about it, don't hesitate, sign up. We would love to show you what this stuff can do in practice.